This is the disclaimer for Wildlife Control Consultant and Pest Geek Podcast for the Living the Wildlife podcast. Always follow national, state, provincial, and local laws when using pesticides and or other control methods to manage pests. Wildlife Control Consultant, LLC, Pest Geek Podcast, Living the Wildlife Podcast, Stephen M. Vantassel, or their or his affiliates are not responsible for followers' use of the information provided here.
Hi everyone, Stephen Vantassel here, host of Living the Wildlife as part of the Pest Geek podcast family. Hey, glad to have you on board here today. Hope you had a good week. As you may know, some of these procedures, or I should say podcasts, may not have been getting out in a timely manner. The person who uploads it to our regular site has certainly been having some health issues after an illness. So we apologize for that. You can always kind of look at Rumble is where I upload a lot of my content if it doesn't get out through the Pest Geek podcast family. But anyways, we're glad you're here. We hope you had a great week in a kind of winding down, and you're thinking about the weekend and you're getting a little training while we're here. And so being a beginning of a new year, I thought I would take on a new subject because of something that was shipped to me. But before we get to that, do take a few moments, subscribe to the channel. If it's not through the Pest Geek, definitely reach out and do it on the Rumble channel. Again, all that is free. You say, why aren't we using YouTube? Well, I would just ask you to think about why it's not going onto YouTube. So, but in any event, it is on Rumble, and we'd love to have you subscribe and join us there. You can reach me at wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com, wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you, comments, suggestions, show ideas. If you're looking for an interview, perhaps you see a new product that you'd like to have discussed or reviewed, I would love to hear your thoughts. And yes, even times when people are criticizing me, I'll take that as well. Hopefully it'll be constructive, but we'll see. But today, want to take a few moments and discuss something that I certainly think that some of you might want to be interested in. As you know, marketing is certainly something that is a challenge for many of us. It certainly was for me when I was in business. I still struggle with it because the idea of self-promotion is a little difficult for some of us, perhaps who are a little bit more introverted than others. But I got a package in the mail the other day. This happened around Christmas time, sent from a friend of mine, Tommy Rains of Cape Fear Wildlife Control in Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's Tommy Rains, just rain like rainfall, rains, of Cape Fear Wildlife Control, Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I wanted to give him a shout out. He did give me permission to talk about it. And what he did was he sent me some of the marketing swag that he uses for his own business. And I reached out to him and said, hey, this is really cool. Thanks for reaching out to me. And I think he had a little note with it. And I just figured I would asked him if I had permission to talk about and mention him and mention the stuff that he sent. He said, sure, no problem. So I wanted to give him a shout out for that. Again, that's Tommy Rains of Cape Fear Wildlife Control in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And so what did he send me? Well, typically when you get swag in the mail, or people are, they're buying you pens, right? Labeled pens. And that's, and that's helpful. I'm not trying to diss that. But sometimes you'll have a card with a magnet on it. Yep, that's good because I like using them. I put them up on our refrigerator. Although with all the new stainless steel refrigerators, it's getting harder to find parts that are magnetizable where you can attach it. So we put ours on the side of the refrigerator because the front stainless steel. But you're looking for something that's going to get someone's attention and be valuable, and that they're going to keep and not just toss in the trash. That's the challenge. And the problem is that you're spending money, but how do you spend, you want to balance how much money you're going to pour into something that's going to get someone's attention, they're going to keep it around, and that they're going to remember you. Because remember, wildlife control, unlike pest control, we don't have these, generally speaking. There are exceptions. I know, don't send me any, don't troll me. I know there's some of you guys out there have continuing contracts with companies. But we have to admit, by and large, the vast majority of our work is a one-off. You go to the house, you resolve the squirrel problem, you seal the hole. They may hire you to do some add-ons, putting chimney caps on, taking care of the vents, maybe taking care of another little issue, but you're done. And you're not going to see that client again, most likely for a very long time. Pest control is different because generally people that have problems with certain insects are going to always have problems with those certain insects. Think about a restaurant. They're going to have constant issues perhaps with cockroaches or maybe ants or maybe mice getting in and other commensal rodents. It may be a building that's struggling with some bird work and they can't afford to have it all done at once. So you get these sort of repeat customers, you're spraying on a regular basis, or you're treating on a regular basis, or you're inspecting on a regular basis. In wildlife control, that's tougher, so you don't get the memory recall that you could get with a pest control company. Because someone's going to have a lot more contacts with that pest control company over time than you would for a wildlife control operator. I mean, you may be there intensively as a wildlife control operator for several days. Maybe you're doing a squirrel job and, maybe your standard work is you're going to be there 5 days. You're going to set your traps or one-way doors or however you do it. And you're going to be done in 3 or 4 days, and then you're going to seal it up, and you're done. And that's it. But with pest control, let's say you're doing a bed bug job. Well, you're coming out and doing your initial inspection, you're doing your quote, and then maybe you're treating, and then you're coming back, a week or so later to check, maybe treat again as the new nymphs are growing up, whatever the case may be. I'm not an expert in this area. And then maybe doing one other follow-up several weeks later, or, you're doing other work. Now, if you're obviously doing a heating job, you're going to be there a while, but a lot of people are using chemical jobs. The point is you have multiple visits over time, and that's going to burn your company's name has a better chance, I should say, of burning it into long-term memory. Not so with wildlife control. So what do you give clients, especially those that refer you a lot of work, because you not only have to think about what swag are you going to give them, but is this person valuable enough to give you those referrals, to give them what are you going to give them that's going to make sure that they continue that? So you don't want to give them junk, and you don't want to give them something that's so expensive that you're kind of bankrupting the company. Obviously, that's pretty extreme, but you get what I'm saying, because you may buy some of these things, and let's say they cost $2 or $3 a piece, and you're buying 100 of them, then you're starting to get, some serious money out there, right? So this is what he sent me, and I just thought it was cool, and I thought I would send it along, because we all know about pens and, of course, magnetized cards. And those are good, and I'm not trying to diss those. Maybe pads, writing pads can be useful. You may have some people use calendars. But if you want to try to change it up, maybe things like keychains. I was recommending to one organization giving out magnifying glasses or maybe mini flashlights. These were things not necessarily to market themselves, but as swag, that just giveaways. Prizes for something. So this is what he sent me. He sent me 2 of these pens, and I thought it was kind of clever. So this one they're both the same thing, just 2 different colors. They have his name emblazoned on there. They're metal, and they fit up in your pocket. Those of you that know me know that I love my pens, and I always have to have shirts with the pocket in left-hand corner because I have my planner and I have pens, and my wife criticizes me for how many I have in there, but I like pens. Maybe that's because I don't have good penmanship, and I've always envied people that have beautiful handwriting, but I like pens. And so what he sent here was these little pen lights, and if you push it here, it turns on, which is pretty cool. All right. Now that's different, right? I just thought this was going to be a pen, and it's like, yeah, all right, this is cool. But no, it's a light. And situations where if you're in business, you're like, it would be really nice to have a portable light, because sometimes you don't need a big hand light, and maybe you didn't want to go out to the truck again, but just having a little something up here, just in case. And you say, well, I have my cell phone. Well, what if the cell phone battery is going low on you or something? This is kind of cool. But the point is you have to think about, what can I give my client or my referral person, something that they're not just going to toss or throw into a drawer. And so that's what he had. And on the other end is for those of you that have like tablets or cell phones, it's sort of a pen, so you can just simply tap things on your touchscreen phone or draw, whatever the case may be, or you a scroll. I have a tablet, and that's what the backside is for that. So kind of clever. This one has a little safety thing so you can't turn it on when it's being shipped, but there it is. And it again has his name emblazoned on it. Stylish. I don't know how much this cost, but it just gives you an idea on another item that you can give out to your clients. But he also added something else to it. I'm not a fisherman per se, but I thought this was incredibly clever. I hope you can get a good shot of it here. This is a bass. I think it's a bass lure, and it's called from Savage Gear 3. It's a 3D bat. There's the big hooks at the bottom. It has the spinners, and it's a 3D bat, and it's called Lure with an Attitude. Now, what I thought, bass fishing is like a religion for some people. They are full on into it. Cape Fear Wildlife, Tommy Raines, does bat control, right? Now, this isn't labeled with his company name or something, but the point is that this is something so unique and special. When you open this up, do you think that the person who uses it is going to think of Tommy Raines' company? I certainly think about it. I'm like, oh, that's the guy who sent me the bat. He does bat work. So this is a very interesting method of attaching a particular, maybe high dollar value service to your client's mind. If you know that they like fishing, do you think this would grab their attention? Because it certainly grabbed mine. I don't even fish, okay? But what was clever about it is it looks like a bat, and it's a lure for, I believe, bass fishing. Don't quote me on that, but it's from Savage Gear. But that's something you just don't find ordinarily, right? And it all fit into this very small package. You can see it's the size of my hand. This is a 6x9 little envelope, and it was all mailed to me in that little envelope. Cost them first class. I don't see a price here on the sheet, but it was UPS tracking. So I'm assuming it probably cost them $3 to ship that. $3.19 probably to ship that, plus the envelope. My point here is not that whether you use this lure or not. That's not the point here. Although I for those of you that have do a lot of bat work, and you have clients you think are interested in bass fishing, this might be kind of clever, for you to purchase, maybe something for you to think about. But the broader issue is you need to think about doing something unique. And so you want to talk to, there are companies that do a lot of this sort of swag stuff, but think beyond the box and say, what do clients of mine, what would many of them value? How do I build that relational bond so that when there's a referral or when they need a service, they're calling me and not someone else? And that is something for you to definitely think about and ponder, and just keep an open mind as you're going through stores or searching on the internet, or when you receive swag, right? When you go to conventions or something and you're saying, what is attracting me here? And what would attract my clients? Are a lot of the people that refer to me, are they women? Are they men? Ask your wife or girlfriend or mother or family members and say, cross-gender, and say, what are some things that interest you that you think, and do your own little survey or focus group with a few people that'll give you the honest answer, right? If they think something's crap, they'll tell you it's crap, not just trying to make you feel good, right? And take that opportunity to say, maybe I'm going to take a little bit of my budget and try this, and just thank the people that refer jobs to me and give them something valuable that also markets your company and makes them remember you. Because in some of your markets, things are getting crowded out there, and you're going to need to learn how to break through so that people call you first, rather than waiting for the calling everyone in sort of a shotgun approach and see who picks up. Hope you found that helpful for you again. And just again, shout out to Tommy Rains of Cape Fear Wildlife Control in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And again, he has his little bat lure here, and then of course the pen lights here, which are kind of neat, just to kind of show you. But just ideas for you to think about. Whether you use this or something else, think of something you can give out to those that refer you. Well, that'll do it for today's podcast. Yeah, a little brief today, but I have some small things I'm trying to, sort of get out there for you. Again, my name is Stephen Vantassel. You've been listening to Living the Wildlife podcast as part of the Pest Geek podcast family. Really glad to have you on board here. Again, you can reach out to me at wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com. Would love to get your ideas for future broadcasts, comments about the show, what you like, what you don't like, sharing ideas. Of course, you can also visit us on Facebook. We have a Pest Geek podcast page there. You're welcome to join us, and where it's a place for professionals to share ideas and achievements and triumphs and struggles too. That client that's just driving you nuts, and where you need some advice in terms of how to do it, or if you just want to complain and tell the world just how much sometimes customers just bother us, and that can certainly be the case too. So it's kind of think of it as a sharing group for those in the wildlife control, pest control industry. We do hope you subscribe to the channel. You can also download this on Rumble as well. We'd love to have you do that. And again, this is Stephen Vantassel with Living the Wildlife podcast. Why? Because we want you to live the wildlife, not be the wildlife. Take care, everybody.